Couch Wars, the living room uprising. In the heart of the living room kingdom, peace had always been kept by the noble couch, who acted as a soft, squishy throne for everyone. But one day, the remote control grew tired of being lost under cushions and shouted, "No more hiding in the dark! Tonight I rule!" The couch groaned, the coffee table gasped, and the lampshade fainted dramatically as Remote leapt onto the armrest, glowing with button power. Immediately, chaos broke out. The TV, always moody, demanded attention. "If Remote rules, then I get to play horror movies all night long." The curtains hissed back, "Not on my watch," and wrapped themselves around the TV screen like ninja fighters. Meanwhile, the rug mafia started dragging furniture into secret hiding spots, whispering, "Don't trust the remote, he always changes the channel." The chaos only grew when the game console joined the fight, yelling, "Power to the players!" and unleashed a horde of hyperactive controllers who zipped around the room, bonking everyone on the head. The couch, overwhelmed, tried to restore peace, but the cushions betrayed him, catapulting themselves into a pillow war. The lamps fought back by flickering dramatically like strobe lights at a rave, and the coffee mugs rolled off the table screaming, "For caffeine!" before shattering on the battlefield. Just when it seemed all was lost, the house cat strolled in, completely uninterested, and sat on Remote, instantly ending his rebellion. The TV sighed, the couch relaxed, and the rug mafia retreated back into their dusty tunnels. Peace returned to the living room, though everyone knew it wouldn't last. The cat was already eyeing the curtains like a scratching post, and the lampshade whispered, "Season 2 is coming." The secret society of sleepy socks, deep in the mysterious shadows of Sock Drawer Valley, where lint bunnies plot in silence and underwear hosts late-night raves. 3 brave socks, Stripey, Polka Dot, and Argyle, held a midnight meeting. "Every laundry day one of us disappears," whispered Stripey in terror, "and nobody ever comes back." Polka Dot shivered, recalling the tragedy of Grandma Wooly, who vanished mid-spin cycle, never to be seen again. Argyle, being the dramatic one, declared, "No more. Tonight we enter the washing machine portal and uncover the truth." So the 3 socks packed their essentials: lint grenades, a sewing needle sword, and half a candy wrapper as a map, then tiptoed past the pajama puffs and ignored the boxers who were shouting, "Join the party!" from their disco underwear rave, and crawled straight toward the humming monster known only as the Washer. On their way, they had to sneak past the legendary sock-eating monster under the bed, a beast that had devoured hundreds of socks over the centuries. It snored mountains of dust bunnies and mumbled in its sleep, but Polka Dot, cursed with allergies, sneezed so loudly that the monster's giant red eye cracked open and it roared, "Who dares disturb me?" Thinking fast, Stripey threw a lint grenade, which exploded in a puff of fluff so thick it made the monster sneeze itself unconscious, and the socks dashed forward into the portal of doom. Inside the washing machine, chaos reigned. Jeans spun like cyclones, t-shirts shrieked as they were stretched into new shapes, bras bounced around like trampoline warriors, and the spin cycle sprites zoomed past screaming, "Wee!" while the socks were thrown, tumbled, soaked, and spun in a storm of endless suds. Argyle tried to give an inspirational speech but was slapped in the face by a towel. Polka Dot attempted to swim through the rinse cycle but was dragged into a whirlpool of underwear, and Stripey managed to surf a wave of detergent, crashing triumphantly into the dryer door. When the spinning finally stopped, they found themselves not destroyed, but transported into a hidden paradise behind the dryer. Socktopia, the legendary kingdom of lost socks. There, sitting on a throne made of dryer sheets, was the mythical Missing Sock, wearing sunglasses and sipping cocoa from a lint mug. "Welcome, my brothers," Missing Sock declared. "Laundry day doesn't destroy us, it sets us free." The socks looked around in awe at hammocks made of shoelaces, pillow forts stuffed with lint, and endless warmth from dryer vents. For the first time, they felt truly at home. But just as they celebrated their victory, the ground shook, and the air filled with a low, terrifying hum. From the corner of Socktopia, a massive nozzle appeared, the nose of the vacuum monster sniffing hungrily. Missing Sock dropped his cocoa, eyes wide. "Oh no," he whispered. "The real battle begins." And thus began the sock saga that would shake every drawer, dryer, and dusty underbed kingdom forever. The egg who wanted to be a hero. Once upon a sizzling afternoon in Kitchenland, an egg named Shelley rolled out of his carton and announced to the other food doodles, "I am tired of waiting around to be scrambled, fried, or boiled. I was born for greatness." The tomatoes snorted, the onions rolled their eyes, and the garlic whispered, "Good luck with that, omelet boy!" But Shelley ignored them all and hopped onto the counter with dramatic flair. His first stop was the frying pan arena, where bacon strips were sunbathing in their own grease like it was a spa day. "Excuse me, Bacon Brothers, I am here to train for heroism," Shelley declared. The bacon laughed so hard they flipped themselves, splattering grease everywhere, and shouted, "Good luck not cracking, Eggy!" Shelley pushed onward, slipping past the spatula guards and dodging the salt and pepper twins, who were busy bickering over who was the spiciest. At the edge of the counter, he met Cheese Mountain, where a group of rebellious nacho chips were staging a protest. "Melt us equally! No chip left behind!" Shelley tried to give a heroic speech about unity, but one of the nachos sneezed cheddar dust all over him, and he rolled straight into the blender swamp. The blender, a terrifying monster with spinning teeth, growled, "Enter if you dare!" But Shelley scrambled out just in time, trembling yet more determined than ever. He finally reached his ultimate trial, the oven volcano. It rumbled with fiery heat as cupcakes marched out in single file, wearing frosting helmets and chanting, "Bake, bake, bake!" The oven roared, "Who dares interrupt my baking?" And Shelley, quivering but brave, yelled back, "I am not breakfast, I am destiny." The oven cackled and blasted hot air, nearly roasting him alive. But at that very moment, the timer bell rang, distracting the oven just long enough for Shelley to leap away. Everyone in the kitchen gasped. No egg had ever survived the oven's wrath. From that day forward, Shelley became a legend. Not fried, not scrambled, not boiled, but remembered as the egg who refused to crack. Of course, he later slipped on a puddle of spilled milk and rolled under the fridge for 3 weeks. But still, a legend. Once upon a very squeaky morning, the tube of toothpaste decided he had had enough of being squished every single day by giant human hands. So instead of waiting for his doom, he puffed up his minty chest, jumped off the sink, and yelled, "Today I'm the king of the bathroom!" Of course, the toothbrush trio, Mr. Bristle, Miss Soft, and Tiny Little Brushlet, were not prepared for this rebellion because they were still sleeping in their cup, but Toothpaste Patch sneezed out such a giant mint bubble that it lifted them into the air like a balloon and sent them screaming across the bathroom. They ricocheted off the faucet, bounced on the soap dish, and landed inside the bubble castle, where Bubble Knights were polishing their loofahs, and immediately the knights shouted, "Intruders! Defend the soap!" and charged at the toothbrushes. But Toothpaste, being dramatic as usual, sneezed again, covering them all in sticky foam, which accidentally glued every single Bubble Knight together, fusing them into a giant mega bubble monster that rolled out of the castle like a rubbery balloon, screaming in squeaks. The mega bubble rolled straight into the Shampoo River, where the rubber duck army was training under their fierce leader, General Quack. The ducks bravely quacked in unison, formed a battle line, and charged, only to get sucked inside the mega bubble, which transformed into a horrifying duck-powered blimp that floated around screaming "Quack" in slow motion. Meanwhile, high above the sink, the Mirror Twins were gossiping as usual, Lefty whispering, "This is better than Netflix," while Righty replied, "Shh, look, someone's about to fall in the toilet." And of course, the duck blimp smashed right into the toilet throne, waking up King Flush, who was in no mood for drama. "Who disturbs my royal nap?" he bellowed, flushing so hard that tidal waves flooded Bathmat Village. Tiny Bathmat citizens were swept away yelling, "Save the towels! For the love of fabric softener, save the towels!" While soap dishes surfed on waves of lavender foam and toothbrushes clung to the shower curtain for dear life, Toothpaste Patch panicked, thinking he had gone too far, so he squeezed himself with all his strength and accidentally unleashed the legendary Mintnado, a peppermint tornado so strong that it froze the entire bathroom in an icy blast of freshness. Ducks were trapped in cubes of mint ice, Bubble Knights were stuck mid-loofah swing, King Flush clutched his head in a frozen brain freeze scream, and the whole bathroom stood completely still in sparkling silence. Just when everyone thought it was the end, Little Brushlet raised his tiny bristles and shouted, "Hey, at least it smells amazing now!" And suddenly the entire bathroom cheered because chaos might be terrible, but chaos with minty, fresh breath was somehow acceptable. And that is how Toothpaste Patch, without ever brushing a single tooth, became the legend of the bathroom kingdom. Until, of course, someone forgot to flush. But that's another story. Revenge of the leftovers deep inside the chilly realm of the fridge kingdom, where vegetables gossip and condiments plot in silence, a rebellion was brewing. At the very bottom shelf sat the forgotten leftovers. One sad slice of pizza, half a Chinese takeout box, and a suspicious piece of lasagna who had been abandoned for weeks. "We rot in darkness while the milk gets all the glory," Pizza growled, his cheese sliding off dramatically. The ketchup bottle tried to calm him, but Lasagna shouted, "No more! Tonight we rise!" The leftovers climbed out of their plastic prison and marched through the fridge like warriors. They passed the yogurt clan, who waved their spoons in support, and the pickle jar, who muttered, "It's about time someone shook things up." The carrot sticks from the crisper drawer tried to block their way, chanting, "Healthy food forever," but were easily squashed under pizza's greasy might. They stormed past the butter kingdom, melted through the cheese territories, and finally confronted Milk, who stood tall and pure on the top shelf. "You think you're so important," Lasagna growled, "but without us, this fridge has no flavor." Milk tried to respond with a heroic speech, but the fridge light flicked on suddenly as the human opened the door. In that blinding spotlight, chaos erupted. Pizza flung himself at the human's face. Lasagna leapt into battle, screaming, "Eat me if you dare!" And Milk toppled over in panic, spilling everywhere. The fridge became a battlefield of goo, crumbs, and slippery dairy. The humans screamed, slammed the door, and left the mess behind. And so the leftovers were victorious, not because they conquered the fridge kingdom, but because they successfully terrified the human into ordering delivery instead. For the first time, they were free. Until the trash can arrived, Alarm Clock's evil plan. In the dark, sleepy world of Bedroom Land, the alarm clock sat on the nightstand, glowing red numbers like an evil overlord. Every night he waited, scheming, whispering to himself, "They think they control me, but tomorrow morning, I rise." The bed, exhausted from carrying 2 humans and 3 snack crumbs, groaned, "Please, alarm, can you just let them sleep?" But the alarm laughed maniacally. "Sleep! Never! I live to ruin dreams!" When the first rays of morning peeked through the curtains, Alarm Clock unleashed his terrifying scream. "Beep, beep, beep, beep!" The humans groaned and smacked him, but he resurrected instantly. "Beep, beep, beep!" The pillow tried to muffle him, the blanket tried to strangle him, and even the slippers shouted from under the bed, "Shut up, you maniac!" But Alarm only laughed harder. Finally, the sleepy human grabbed him and slammed the snooze button. Alarm sulked, but then whispered his secret weapon, "Snooze only makes me stronger." And exactly 9 minutes later, he returned even louder. Joined by his evil allies, the phone notifications, the barking dog outside, and the garbage truck rumble. Together they formed the Symphony of Doom, shaking the whole bedroom until the humans fell out of bed like clumsy rag dolls. Meanwhile, on the dresser, the mirror gasped in horror at the human's mourning face, shouting, "Dear heavens, put me back to sleep too." The socks in the drawer argued over who had to face the stinky shoes, while the closet moaned, "Why do they always choose the ugliest shirt? I have options." The whole room descended into mourning chaos, all orchestrated by the wicked laughter of the alarm clock. But just when Alarm was basking in his evil glory, Karma arrived in the form of a giant cup of coffee. Coffee strutted into the room, steaming with confidence, shouting, "Step aside, clock! It's my turn to control them!" Alarm tried to fight back with extra snoozes, but Coffee's aroma was too powerful, pulling the humans upright and forcing them into motion. Alarm Clock screeched in defeat, vowing, "This isn't over! I'll be back at 6 a.m. sharp!" and powered down, already plotting his revenge. The bed sighed in relief, the pillow collapsed dramatically, and the humans trudged away, unaware that their entire morning had been nothing more than alarm's evil theater. And so, in bedroom land, the war between sleep and wakefulness raged on, day after day, beep after beep, until the end of time.